one of the biggest issues I have with media in general today is telling people what to think, and that's what I feel like a
Mm,
large portion of it is. And
yeah.
I don't subscribe to there's this interest or this weird polarization that's happened as people kind of like go in the United States go to their separate little echo chambers when it comes to media. As far as like, is it CNN or is it Fox News? And
Mm.
so there's been this big movement of people on the right trying to shoot down the radical left, which is really interesting because if you go back to when Obama was president, Fox News was doing the exact same stuff that they're accusing the
Oh
radical
yeah.
left. And
This is what I always say, right? So the fucking right wingers always go on about SJW, crybaby, which I'm against. I hate all that bullshit. Like I guess technically I would be considered a leftist. I would be considered a radical leftist by someone at Fox News, but I don't really class myself as any ism particularly. I have my own ideas and that's it. But they always go on about SJW and crybaby. They're the biggest fucking crybabies of all. They're the biggest crybabies. As soon as someone deviates very slightly from what they want you to believe, they start screaming, oh, this is a communist thing. This is fucking da da da. How dare you say that? It's like, hang on, weren't you guys fucking talking about free speech 2 minutes ago? Now you're fucking crying. It's pathetic. It's pathetic, man. I with Popular Front, I said as well, like, we're not interested in that woke shit either. Like, I'm not having that. I'm not having language policing. Obviously, there is no fucking, we're strictly anti-racist, anti-fascist. I'm not having any of that bullshit anywhere in my platform. That's just a personal thing. I think you want to be racist, you can get a slap around the face. That's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself. I don't care. But I'm not having woke bullshit leak into it because woke politics, woke ID poll is nothing to do with leftism, is nothing to do with anything really apart from power. I mean, Mark Fisher said it right in Exiting the Vampire Castle. It's a way for people that have not experienced true struggle often to gain a foothold or power within a movement, right? So you might be some Indonesian kid, but you're rich as fuck, your whole family are rich. And then suddenly, you can then have power over some like working class blue collar guy that has no money specifically because of the identity. That's just not right, man. We let's build people up. Let's help people not be as poor, and let's stop like corporations digging people out and like working them to the bone for fuck all. I'm not interested. If that's what you want to do politically, I think that's what's important. But I'm not interested in having any of that leak into Popular Front because it's so boring, man. Like Vice has done it so badly. It went from like hardcore war reporting to being known for just like, oh, everything is offensive. Here's why you shouldn't say this. Here's why you shouldn't say that. I'm so sick of the media telling you what to think, what is good, what isn't good, what is bad. Now, there are some things that are objectively bad. ISIS, bad. You know what I mean? Nazis, they're bad. But we don't need that to seep into the tiniest thing all the time. It's just boring. So I don't know. I try and keep it away from Popular Front. I mean, it's impossible to 100% remove politics from conflict. I mean, I'm actually not trying to remove it. I think I'm honest about my biases, and I think that's all you can do. The idea of a 100% objective journalist is just not real. That you're not a robot. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if you are like that kind of journalist, fair play to you. But I believe that you have to be feeling things, and sometimes even like allowing those to I don't want to say dictate, but like allow them to at least let you approach a story from a different angle because of what you've seen. You shouldn't just be like, well, it's terrible that that group did that, and it's bad that that group did that. Well, you might be like, well, yeah, the two things are bad at the same time, but then the nuance is, well, I get why that one did that because they did that. Now, that doesn't mean I'm on their side. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. I'm just saying, like, there is more nuance to what happens. Now, I believe that you should accept that sometimes as a human, you are going to have these biases and be honest about them. But a lot of the time, some people say, oh, that's bias. I'm like, is it bias or is it just not what you want to hear? At the moment, we're covering a lot of the Armenia-Azerbaijan clashes on the Instagram right now. I'm maybe going out there. I don't know. I'm looking at I'm looking at how it's going to look with my other workload, but possibly I'm going to go there. But right now we're kind of doing it from afar. And a lot of people will be like, oh, this is bias. Like, why is it bias? Azerbaijan kills 2 kids. This is bias. What is bias about that? Like, I'm telling you what fucking happened. You know, this is terrible. They've just bombed the church. Oh, that's bias. No, it's not. Like, it's objectively true that it's terrible to bomb a church, as it is to bomb a mosque, as it is to bomb a synagogue. Like, it's just not good. You know what I'm saying? So I think we remove the kind of psychopathic news line from things and just go like, hey, we're human beings, we're normal people, we're also reporters, here's what's going on. And a lot of people don't quite get it. They don't understand that actually this is good reporting that a lot of journalists historically have done, because they're so wired into partisan bullshit of Fox and CNN. And it's just tiring, man. And it's like, look, we do things the way we do it. If you don't like it, fuck off. Like, you don't have to be involved with it. You know what I'm saying? So I think there is part of the audience that enjoy that. I think a large majority of our followers and supporters like that it's like, hey, this is not for everyone. And we're not trying to be, you know, like, I think with Vice, what they did wrong was go like, wow, like woke bullshit is very popular now. Now let's focus a lot of our content to that. What they should have done was been like, you know, this is a passing phase. We're journalists. We'll talk about it. You know, I think trans rights are very important. I think gay rights are very important. Black Lives Matter, 100% behind it. And at the same time, like, that is not going to then become my full focus. We do war reporting, and that's that. You don't need me to then pander to some kind of agenda elsewhere, because it's just not relevant. Often it's just not relevant, you know. And political circle jerks will tell you that it is relevant, and they'll try and tie you in knots, and they really want you to understand. Like, there's a lot of people that like me and like Popular Front that will message me and be like, man, I just wish you cared about this. And I'm just like, how fucking arrogant are you? You know, basically you can't accept something, enjoy it as it is. You want that thing to then also believe what you believe to make it acceptable to you. I think that's huge arrogance, and I actually think it's a way to control people the same way a government would, or the people they're claiming they don't like would, you know. So it's all a load of bullshit, and I think the best thing to do is ride it out. This is going to die off. What we can do is be honest, be truthful within ourselves, you know, like I said, admit if you have a bias, say it, don't hide it. And yeah, man, like, you know, it is what it is. It's people like what we're doing. I will die on the hill that we're doing true reporting. You know, this 100%, this is not propaganda. This is definitely not activism. Without a doubt, we will never do activism. This is what a lot of, you know, we have a lot of radical leftists follow Popular Front for whatever reason. And that's cool. I don't mind. Like, great. But then a lot of them were like, why aren't you taking this stance on this war? And I'm like, what the fuck do I care what your fucking political circle jerk stance is? I'm on about reality. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you seem kind of anti-Russia, but now all of a sudden you know, you're pointing out a lot of what's going on in Armenia. What? So then, because atrocities are happening in Armenia, Azerbaijan attacked them first. Now, because you said you have to be against Russia, now I'm not allowed to then suddenly say, look what is happening, it's really bad. Fuck out of here. Like, it's boring. That is so stupid. And it's just typical Western chauvinism, Western exceptionalism. You know, oh, this war has to fit into my idea was here in safety in the West. Otherwise, I can't get behind it. No one asked you to. You know, no one asked you to. Let us do our job, and you can go back to the book club or whatever the fuck it is they do, you know. And the right wingers are just, I mean, I don't even pay them too much attention, because they're just fucking, often they're just like, oh, why have you got a problem with fascists? You know, like, why do you think? You know, so it's, I don't know. There's a lot of like aggression going on within our community towards that, but I think that's just the community. I don't think that represents the work, you know. Like, look at the work we do. It's very detailed. It's very niche. We go into great detail. Our work is taught in universities all over America. Like, we're part of courses all over the world where they're saying you must listen to this episode of Popular Front. You must watch this Popular Front documentary. So that's what I care about, you know, like people learning stuff and educating themselves on what's going on in the world. Being entertained at the same time. You know, I think what we do is very entertaining, because unfortunately, the world we live in, if you want the youth, the younger audience to understand war, show them how mad it is. You know, we get a lot of criticism for that. I don't care. I really don't care. You know, for a minute of like, oh, there's music there and he's making war look like a game. We're not. Like, just watch the full thing. Excuse me, listen to the full thing, and you will see that it's just not true. You know what I mean? But people just want to base their assumptions on like 1 second of whatever. yeah, I mean, I'm rambling, but I think essentially, yeah, if you've got a vision and you think you're doing the right thing, you have to just kind of sweep all the rest out of the way. You know, they've tried to cancel Popular Front several times, and it's like, I'm just like, I don't care, man. Like, it just doesn't work. I think when you withdraw the power from them by just saying, cool, whatever, like, you know, I think that really helps. But yeah, man, yeah, that's how it's going, I guess.